site every Wednesday night of our North Crowley Panther Coaches Show. I'm very excited to be joined by Panthers assistant coach, Cameron Price. Coach, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. My man Bitten.
Hey, it's finally time. We've been trying to get you on the show. You keep big timing us. I'm glad you finally decided to show up.
You know, it like you said, it was about time.
Okay, so I have to go a little bit of inside basketball here. Right before the show, you were out there getting some shots up, rotating in with Malik. A couple of the guys also out there shooting, Coach Harston. So I have to ask the question. I assume that you shoot the ball every once in a while. How do you stop when it's time to go? Do you finish on a make? Do you finish on a miss? Do you shoot until you miss? How do you decide, okay, that's it, I got to go?
So, first off, right at this point, it's when I'm gassed. If you would have asked me when I was still here playing at North Crowley, I'm shooting until Dad calls and said, hey, it's time to bring your butt home. But no, us coaches, we like to jump in with the players, have a little fun, and, you know, just try to show them, hey, we still got it every now and then. But definitely you shoot to you miss. Yeah. And then you got to come back and make one more to go home.
Right. Okay. I was just double checking. So, but shooting till you're gassed, I guess what? That's 2 shots, 3 shots? got that old man lungs over there.
Definitely.
Right?
I'm glad we gave myself a minute before we tuned in. I'm still trying to catch my breath.
Looking back over the last week, of course, we talked last week, had a big game on Friday at Weatherford, which, we talked a little bit ahead of it. How do we maintain focus on that one? Because then we had the game coming up against Haltom on Tuesday. And I tell you, that game against Weatherford, although against a team that most people would suggest that we should win, had to be one of our top defensive performances of the year. What'd you see of it from the bench? What was your take on that?
Our kids is just they at some point in the year, I can't really pinpoint it, but they really bought into our defensive scheme and our defensive plan and everything we've been teaching them, and started applying it into the games. And it's just, you see week by week, game by game, them just week in, week out, just adding on to it, getting better and better, and just building up. And that was just showcase of it against Weatherford.
21, 23, what was it, 21?
Yeah, 21.
I mean, good heavens, that's a pretty low figure. And it was the lowest point total allowed in the district by anybody so far this season. Did you notice that? Did you know that coming in, Coach?
I think I did. I think I did. Not too sure, but I think I did.
Yeah, and of course, Coach Harston, our offensive coach, I know you and he have a good-natured rivalry. It feels like it's hard to enjoy the lowest point total allowed when he also puts up the highest points scored at the same time.
No, you definitely know about our rivalry, and I think it helps our team get better. I mean, me and him are true competitors, and so since we're kind of split up there, we try to just continue that competition on, and that competition helps us get better each and every day.
Well, it certainly showed in that game against Weatherford last Friday night. Then coming up on Tuesday, this last Tuesday, and part of the reason we talked about that Weatherford game being potentially troublesome is because we had such a big game against Haltom. This Tuesday night completed what should have been the first round all the way through district. A couple of games got postponed in there, but essentially Haltom beat Trinity, Trinity beat us, and so it was the teams at the top, and then here we come ready to play Haltom again. The team that knocked us out of the playoffs last year had to be a little bit of a chip on the shoulder going into that one, trying to take care of business.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, our guys had that marked on their calendar. Hey, the next day after that playoff loss, so they were definitely locked in and trying to do whatever they could to make sure we get that win.
And I mean, it really put together a good game against Haltom. How did you feel we stood up defensively against, Paul Bizimana, their number one guy, and, Kyron Powell, their top guard? How did you feel like we did against those guys?
I think we did pretty good. We definitely had guys step up all the way around. It was great team defense. It wasn't just those guys locking in. It was all five. Every five that was on the floor stepping in, taking charges, stepping in, help side defense. So as a group, we did a great job on not just them two, but their whole team, I believe.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And, you talked a little bit earlier about implementing defensive principles and getting the team to buy into those. How do you approach that when you have a team coming in, we've watched some film on. I know you guys watched Haltom a little bit. I assume that it's not a matter of changing what we do on defense. What kind of things are you looking at? What kind of adjustments are you trying to make to get the team ready to go against a Haltom as opposed to, say, a Trinity or, a Weatherford? How do you approach that?
So, I mean, just like what you just said, we don't change. We're going to be who we are. We're going to be North Crowley, play North Crowley style basketball, but we just tweak a few things. I mean, like you said, we watch a lot of film. We try to see their tendencies, and then we just try to tweak just a little bit to kind of cover up something that we know, they really like, and that's pretty much it.
I mean, so it's the kind of thing like that guy really likes to shoot from the elbow, so make sure you cover him on the elbow, but you can kind of let him go a little bit if he's a little bit further in, right? I mean, is it that sort of thing?
Yes, it's exactly that. I mean, we really do our homework here as a coaching staff. We're picking up player tendencies, when they like to call these sets, when they like to call those sets, what time during the game, how often do they call these sets. I mean, we try to break it all down and have everything clipped for the guys to watch with film together, and then we try to send it home with them to where they can watch it individually.
And so what does that leave as far as adjustments during the game? We've talked about as the season has gone along, we've come out and had, some nice runs to start the third quarter after a chance to go into halftime. Coach Brackle talks a lot about, hey, it's just reminding the guys what we're trying to do. It's not necessarily that we're changing things. Do you make in-game adjustments? Is it like, hey, let's try to double that guy, or, we're going to go over the top of the screen? Or, what kind of stuff do you look at in-game?
In-game, so we have our initial plan at the beginning, and then we always remind the guys, hey, this is how we're going to start off. But if we see something different, be prepared for this, and that. And so we have a few things lined up, which is stuff that we all work on every day, and that we plan. It's nothing out of the blue, nothing crazy like that. But we look for, hey, they're getting this look. We want to stop that. So let's make this adjustment that we've talked about, that we practiced, that we've seen on film, that we planned.
Okay. Ever just totally take something in out of the blue? It's like, okay, I know we've never done this, but I want you to run all the way from that corner to the other side. It'll work, I promise.
Hey, one time I thought about saying that. Then Brackle gave me a look. I was like, I kind of felt like a player again. So I was like,
maybe not.
Yeah.
That's all right. So we've got a couple of defensive stalwarts on the team that are going to join us here in a minute. But before we bring them in, I want to step off the basketball court with you for just a minute. Cameron Price, what do you like to do for fun? What do you do when you're not playing basketball, when you're not coaching basketball, when you're not watching film, when you're not teaching, getting ready to teach, getting ready to coach? What do you like to do?
I'm glad you added in all those. I was about to go down that list.
None of that stuff.
But, I really like enjoying time with my family. As you know, I have a newborn son, little Caden.
Shout out.
And so as much time as I can during basketball time, you know how busy we are, try to get home and hang out with him and my wife and our families. And then, after all that family time, me and a couple of coaches, we like to get in a little video game action. I'm not going to lie.
They sleep at some point, right?
Yes, at some point they're going to bed.
That's right. So a little bit of 2K action.
Oh, 2K, Call of Duty. And we're not playing for fun. Like we talked about, we're competitors, right?
Yeah.
It gets kind of serious in there.
There you go. So who's your team on 2K?
I play with whoever. That's how I like to roll. I see who you pick, and I'm just going to pick somebody. I'm going to make sure they're not as good as the team you're picking.
You make the adjustments.
There we go.
There we go. Hey, all right. So, we've had a couple of the guys on over the last couple of years that also like to play 2K. Do you give them work?
Yes. I think maybe was it 2 or 3 years ago we brought up we had a long overlay pre-COVID, and so we were all in the locker room, had a little 2K time, a little 2K tournament, and I just had to jump in and let them know, hey, I got this.
That's cute, guys, but let me show you how it really works. Is that how that is?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, so I do want to bring in, we have another couple of special guests here ready to join us, and in case we have people that are new to Panther Productions, I want you guys to tell us who you are. We're going to start right over here. Who in the world are you?
I'm Brian Thomas.
And what year are you?
2022.
Excellent. And so what do you do? What do you play?
Power forward center.
All right. banger inside? Are you an outside shooter? What's your game?
I'd say banger. Guess so, probably.
All right, and I guess you're not going to tell them, but returning defensive MVP of the district, right? I mean, not too shabby.
Yeah.
All right, and who are you?
CJ Williams.
All right, and what's your story, CJ?
Last year I came back from it. I'm just coming back from injury this year.
All right, and also a junior.
Yes, sir.
Inside guy, outside guy. You're 8 feet tall.
I played a wing.
A little bit on the wing.
Yes,
Like to get outside. All right. Defensive preference or offensive? What do you do best on the court, CJ?
Right now it's defense, but I like to get out there on offense too. But my strong side right now is defense.
So taking advantage of your defense and getting an opportunity to improve on the offensive side as well, huh? Right?
Yes, sir.
Nothing wrong with that. So y'all heard me talking to Coach Price a little bit and talking about the defensive effort against Weatherford. We talked last week about, a team that most people would suggest that we should beat in Weatherford. Any problems getting up for that game, getting ready to play? I mean, any chance you were going to fall into the trap of, looking for Haltom and it's like, we just got to take care of Weatherford?
One game at a time.
Yeah? You hear coaches say that all the time, and that's the approach. I mean, is that hard to do? Is it hard to focus on that? Is it hard to think, okay, nothing else matters except this game right here?
No, we just always got to stay focused. And, when we play, it's just one game at a time. We just think about that game at the moment and preparing for that game.
BT, is that the way that you approach it as well? I mean, is it a similar kind of thought process there?
Yes, sir.
So going up against Haltom then on Tuesday after taking care of business against Weatherford in quite a dramatic fashion. 6'8", Paul Bizimana, kind of an inside-outside guy. 6'4", Jace Washington, football player, also coming in, doing a lot of stuff. And then you got Bryson Fears, another tall guy who's kind of inside-outside. Opportunity for the big fellas to get some defensive work in. When you see some guy like that coming in, is that something that you get excited about, or is it like, man, I wish they just had a guard I could lay up against some post that's not doing anything?
I get excited about it sometimes, so I can show that I can guard on the perimeter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How about you, CJ? Would you rather go up against the guys that you didn't have to worry about, or do you like it when the guys you're on are near the top of their team?
I like going to top guys.
And it seemed like one of the things that we focused on was the high-low action of Haltom. I guess that ends up with both of you guys being involved in the post with one guy up top. I know, CJ, you had one real strong defensive stop where I swear you looked like you were 8 feet tall with those arms up. And, is that a challenge? Do you like facing that challenge, or how do you go into that and take those guys out of their game that way?
Be aggressive.
Yeah, I agree.
And opportunity for you to get out on the floor and guard. Had some success out there as well. Not giving up much and really shut down Bizimana for the most part. I think he ended up, Coach KP, did he have 10 in the game?
Yeah,
10.
I think that was about right. So, and just 2 of those in the second half. I mean, you got to feel good when you get that stat line against a player as good as Paul.
Yes, sir.
So, when you're working like that on the defensive end and going up against somebody that's, tough like that, does that impact your offensive game at all? Does it make it harder to come down the floor and, get shots up or focus in on that? Or, do you end up spending a lot of your energy on one end, or are you able to – does it get you juiced up to play at both ends?
No, you got to play hard through the whole time you in. Yeah. And then you'll get tired and coach get you a sub and you get right back in.
Go as hard as you can, get a break, and then get right back in there. I like the sound of that. So, all right, I'm going to ask y'all another one. CJ, I'm going to start with you. What's something that BT needs to get better at?
You can shoot the ball more.
All right. As far as shooting it better or being more aggressive to get his shots up?
Shooting it Being more aggressive, getting shots up.
All right. A little bit more confidence over there. All right, BT, what's something CJ needs to get better at?
I feel like playing through contact better. Playing through contact better.
All right. Getting those finishes,
Yeah.
getting the and one. All right. So, BT, I'll start with you this time. What do you think is CJ's best attribute on the floor? What does he do the best?
He can shoot the ball. He can shoot.
All right, knocking it down.
Yeah.
CJ, what does BT do the best?
Rebounding, real aggressive.
All right, going after and getting those boards. All right, Coach KP, you got the headset on. I'm not going to let you sit there quiet. When you're setting up a defense and figuring out how to shut down a guy like Busy Mana, some of the other size that we've seen this year, does it make the job a lot easier when you got guys like CJ and BT that you can lean on inside?
Man, does it. Man, does it. I mean, just like you heard them talking, they have two different styles. So, I mean, we're sending BT at them, we're sending Marcus, we're sending CJ, we're sending our young guy KD. He's getting long bodies, big, strong bodies, but they play different. So he's got these different looks, different feels. I mean, having guys like that just makes it so much easier.
I don't know if you heard this, and I'm not sure if you know it, KP, but these two dudes right here are juniors.
Are they? I don't know how many check, but if that is true, man, I'm definitely coming back for one more year.
There you go. I mean, you got to come back and get an opportunity to work with these guys again. Is that ever something that you guys think about? I mean, do you ever think about, okay, this year's great, but I get another chance to come back and do it again?
Yeah.
All the time.
Got to come back and repeat the feat, right? There you go. All right, so I want to step off the court a little bit. CJ, I'm going to start with you. Favorite class, not counting basketball or lunch?
Probably math, probably.
All right, who's your teacher?
Mr. Dean.
And why do you like that class?
I don't know. It's just
Easy, hard,
it's like
challenging?
fast thinking.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. BT, how about you? What's your favorite class? Not lunch, not basketball.
Architecture.
Architecture?
Yeah.
What are you doing in architecture?
Just like to. Well, I don't know.
I mean, like, what kind of stuff are y'all studying?
like
Literally, what are y'all working on?
floor plans, different kind of floor plans, building stuff. That's what I like the most about it, like building stuff, like houses. That's really what it is.
Well, that's really cool. Long ago in a galaxy far away, I taught math, so I'm familiar with CJ's class, but architecture sounds pretty cool to me. Who's your teacher?
Miss Gray.
Yeah. And so it's just the kind of stuff that y'all are looking at that makes it the most fun.
Yes, sir.
All right. Starting with you this time, BT. What do you like to do when you're not playing basketball or watching basketball or going to school or studying or doing your homework? What do you like to do to have fun?
It might sound kind of boring, but I like walking my dog.
Yeah, for real? What kind of dog you got?
I got a German Shepherd.
Oh, that's awesome. So walk around in the neighborhood or just kind of shoot him loose and chase after him?
I kind of walk around the neighborhood with my dog.
That's awesome. I like that. Had it for a long time?
Couple months.
Oh, so it's new.
Yeah.
Still got that new dog smell, right?
No.
All right, CJ, what about you? What do you like to do for fun?
I normally just be on my phone. I'll play the game sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Excellent. So what kind of games do you like to play?
I play like 2K.
Yeah? Who do you play with?
My cousin, my brother.
KP's talking some noise over here. Can you take him down?
He on PS4. I'm on Xbox.
So, if we had a little home and home series, make him play on the Xbox One and make you play on the PS4 one.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to win.
Oh, you got him.
Definitely going to win.
Did you hear that in his voice? Oh, he's got
No.
I got a PS4, I got an Xbox. No, Ben, don't do it.
Well, listen, fellas, got a night off on Friday. We're going to talk to Coach Brack a little bit more about that. But then next week, got a big matchup looming again with Trinity. Chance to get that get back. We going to get it done? You guys, what do you think?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're going to get it done.
Yeah, bring them over here in this house and Show them how it works, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Well, listen, fellas, I really appreciate y'all coming over and talking to us today. I know y'all got a lot of stuff. Finals week, right?
Yeah.
So good luck with that. Yeah, get home, get a little study, and get ready for those tests tomorrow. We appreciate you coming and talking to us. All right, that's Brian Thomas, Cameron Price, and CJ Williams. We appreciate them, everybody coming over and talking to us today. And, of course, stick around, folks. We are not done. We've got North Crowley Panther head coach Tommy Brackle coming over to join us. Let's see if I remember the right number. How about right there, Coach?
Check, check.
Perfect. I mean, I knew it was.
Not yet, but I will be here in a minute.
So, talked last week about the game against Weatherford. Potential trap game coming up. I think we showed up for that one. My goodness. We mentioned to KP, fewest points allowed in a district game so far this season. Most points scored in a district game so far this season. And that's across all of the teams in the district this season. Feel good about that one?
I mean, I did, and, because the focus on that game was not necessarily about Weatherford as much as it was about North Crowley. We wanted to go in and respect the game and respect every possession, defend the right way, just do everything that we were supposed to be doing. 4 of the 7 teams in our district this year are exclusively zone teams, so anytime that you get an opportunity to go and work against a team like Weatherford that's going to run some zone, it gives you an opportunity to get better. We don't play just a whole lot of zone, so we don't practice a whole lot of zone. And so when we are practicing against a zone in our own practice, we're not as good at it because we don't take the time to teach it and to teach it the right way. And so it's always a really good opportunity for us to go over and play one of those games that we feel like that we can be okay with the outcome and use it as an opportunity to practice that way.
I want to highlight something that you just said. I'm sure there are a lot of high school basketball players that would feel that it's ridiculous that you don't have time because of all of the practice hours they spend in the gym going over stuff. But, there really has to be a limit to, you have a literal limit of actual hours that you can spend on the floor, and you really do have to make choices about how you prioritize and what you're going to spend that time on.
Absolutely, and it's always been one of my philosophies to let's be really, really good at just a few things as opposed to being average at a whole bunch of things. So if you want to be really, really good at something like I feel like we are with our half-court man this year, it takes time. It takes, repetition. It takes work and non-negotiables and all of the stuff that, that we do on a daily basis. Well, if you start splitting all of that time, you may have different things that you're okay at, but nothing you're really, really good at.
Well, certainly looked really good on Friday night. And then, so that set us up for an opportunity to get against Haltom. And just a reminder of the way things were set up. Of course, we had that one loss in district to Trinity. Haltom and Trinity played on Friday night, and Haltom was able to get the win against Trinity. And Haltom had previously lost to Chisholm Trail. So that game Tuesday night was a chance to put us back in control of our own destiny. Because Haltom beat Trinity, if we could beat Haltom, then win out, and we are guaranteed the district championship. And, oh, by the way, the last team that knocked us out of the playoffs last year was Haltom. Coach KP mentioned that he circled that one, and the guys that circled that one, I'm sure you'd been ready to get that game going.
Yeah, to a certain extent. You can't sit and just live in the past and, worry about what games you didn't perform quite as well as you would have liked to have been and, and stay focused on the future. But, be lying a little bit if we said, it wasn't circled as, hey, this is one we need to go get, and we need to send that message. And, I feel like that we did that on last night.
So, really came out, and it seemed like we played pretty well. Shot 12 of 15 from the free throw line in the second half. Really closed out well. Started the game I believe it was 10-1 early. Kind of got out to a lead and then just never let it get down under 6 or 7 again. How'd you feel like the game went?
It's always good when you can start hot. And, we didn't really start hot from the field, or at least from the free throw line. I think we only hit 2 of our first 8, maybe,
Well, see,
from the line.
I went with the 12 of 15 in the second half, rather than 2 of 8 to start it.
So I would have liked to have gotten off to a little bit hotter start offensively, but when you rely so much on your defense, and defense is something you can control. Game in and game out, possession to possession. I mean, I haven't known many players over the years to try and miss shots. It just happens. But the defense is more in your control. The effort is more in your control. And so you can always start out, getting it done on the defensive end. And when you do that, you give yourselves multiple opportunities to get your offense going. And that's kind of what we did, even though we started off slow from the line. 2 of our first 8, missed our first couple shots from the field. I think it was Marcus finally getting an offensive rebound and a stick back before we got a field goal. But we still ended up putting 20 points on the board in the first quarter, even starting slow like that. So, I'm happy with where our defense is and where it's headed, and I think that's gives us an opportunity to be in every game at the start.
We talked a little bit about, one of Haltom's main features was 6'8" Busy Mana, who, fans will remember him from the playoff game last year as well, but it's got to be easy. It's got to be a good feeling, and we talked a little bit to KP about this, when you have a variety of different guys that you can send at him with different approaches. Whether you're talking about Marcus, being physical, BT, another physical shot blocker kind of guy, or CJ, who can get out and really shut down on the perimeter. That's got to make life easier when you're going up against bigs with 3 bigs like that.
Sure makes it easier as a coach. And, the one thing that I've said time and time again to any and everybody that's asked this year was I love the depth and the versatility of this team. And one without the other, isn't nearly as good. We've got depth. We've got, Marcus and Brian Thomas, who are a great tandem together and have done a great job all year long of rebounding the basketball and being efficient scorers and defending with a physicality. And then you've got our 4 men with CJ and KD Davis that, work in a great tandem as kind of our 4 men. And that's up and down the roster. But the versatility allows us to play big, to play multiple types of bigs, to play small, to guard teams that have a bunch of guards that are dominant, and it's that versatility, that you have as a coach that really allows you to, maybe change your game plans up a little bit from game to game to take away what an opponent is best at.
Do you think this team has a stopper, a guy that you think of as, okay, that guy I'm going to put on their best player, and that'll be the end of that?
Yeah, I can give you a list of them. To be honest with you, I don't think, and that goes back to their versatility. And they've proven that all year long. When it's been a dominant guard, I've been able to throw, a Malik Clinton. If it's a point guard, a Ramon Tuck, who is just a fabulous on-ball defender. But when it's been other teams' bigs, I haven't had to throw a guard out there on them because Marcus Sells and BT are really guarding well, and if it's kind of that stretch 4-man, we've had times when CJ and Trey Davis, KD Davis have really stepped up and been that stopper on the team. So, I think they each have relished the opportunity to play that role over the year and performed when they've had to.
You talked a little bit about that game against Weatherford and the opportunity that it gets to work against a zone. Haltom typically runs a lot of man defense. They did bring out a zone a couple of times against us, and that takes us to Tyreek Taylor, another guy that's really been having some good offensive games of late, really efficient. I believe he had 11 in the first half last night and knocked down a couple of threes against that zone.
Yeah, and Tyreek has been playing well, and I think you hit maybe the most accurate word with efficiency. I mean, he has had such an efficient offensive, output this year, and we're really proud of the way he's playing and everything. He gives us great punch, coming off the bench, and so yeah, his ability to come in, hit a couple of threes, got an offensive rebound and a stick back. I mean, he really had a nice performance across the board last night.
Over 1.6 points per shot, and that was before the way he handled it last night. So I'm sure that's gone up. But just really scoring at a good rate.
Yeah, and then, I mean, we haven't shot the ball quite as well from the line as we would like to the second half so far. I mean, but then you got somebody like Tyreek that steps up last night and goes 8 for 8 from the line. Just really, like you said, being real efficient with his output.
Yep, for sure. So that takes us up to now, first round through district. Not quite complete, though. There's still a couple of games left to be played that got postponed early in the district. That seems like that's going to make for a weird second half.
Well, it's been a weird district standing when I've sent that out. We've been fortunate up to this point that we haven't had any games postponed in district play. But now we're out of luck now, as with Pascal being in a little bit of a quarantine and us having to miss this game on Friday. But it'll give us an opportunity to get out and watch Boswell and Trinity and some of the other teams in the district and get eyes on them as they start their second half of district play.
So one loss at the top is Trinity and us. 2 losses is just Haltom, is that correct?
Just Haltom at this point.
And then Chisholm Trail with 3.
Yep, Chisholm Trail dropped their third last night in a tough loss. What we like where we're sitting right now, I mean, obviously you want to control your own destiny, and we still definitely do that, not just for a piece of the district championship, but for an outright district championship. We know that Haltom on the road will be a challenging one, but, a lot of those other games, when you got Trinity that's now got to come into our place and stuff like that. We like where we're sitting, but not comfortable with where we're at.
Sure. So game against Friday postponed. How does that end up getting rescheduled? I mean, is it a matter of waiting for Pascal to get out, or is it something you do now, or how do you work that?
It would be real simple if when these postponements happened because of quarantines, if it was just one game. When you lose a game to bad weather, it's not that big a deal. You just play it at the next available playing date. But when a team is out for, somewhere between 7 to 10 days because of a quarantine, it's not one game that they have to make up, but oftentimes it's 3 games that they have to make up. As a district executive committee, we kind of chose that the games really should be tried to be made up as quickly as possible, as long as it was safe for the kids to, be able to play that many games consecutively, and for the teams to try to make them up in the order of play in which they were originally scheduled. So you wouldn't change the schedule as is. So if you were still scheduled to play Chisholm Trail, Boswell, and Trinity in that order, the games that you miss, you would fit in those slots in between games.
In that sequence.
Yeah, absolutely. But you would stay continuing to play the schedule the rest of the way as well.
And for the schedule nerds in the audience, or maybe just for me, because I may be the only one of those that there is, UIL usually has a rule about how many games you can play in a week.
They do, but they've waived that this year, knowing that we were all as coaches challenged, with the whole quarantine situation, and give us the flexibility to play the makeup games as we can, and as long as we can get them in.
So off on Friday night, I guess everybody will have a sleepover up here and just kind of hang out.
Well, if we could have it here, that would be fine. I'm worried about the guys that, having a little kickback out at each other's house, because we need to. They've done a great job this year. They really have of following all of our protocols here. And, we joke around about NBA bubbles and, all of this kind of stuff. Well, I feel like when we're here, we're in our own little bubble, but far too often it's not at North Crowley where these kids are getting that close contact or whatever and having to quarantine. So I would love to be able to keep them here, 24/7 and feed them and break that UIL practice rule when we need to, and just hang out through the end of the season. But unfortunately, it's not quite that simple.
All right, true enough. And so after the off Tuesday, going up at Boswell, I believe.
Yep.
So when you're looking at preparing, do you spend the next couple of days getting ready for a Paschal team that you're not going to play because you won't have that time potentially later if you play back-to-back or something? Or do you go ahead and start looking at Boswell?
I think that would be based on the team that you would have been scheduled to play. Maybe it's a little bit different if it was, Haltom or Trinity right there in that slot that, you still go ahead and watch a little bit of that film and refresh on it. But, we talked about how 4 of the 7 teams are playing some sort of a zone in our district, and Paschal is one of those teams. So we're already getting quite a bit of work on the different zones. And, Paschal and Chisholm Trail actually run the exact same kind of zones. So we're getting plenty of work, and we felt like that today could be a day that was all about us. We went in, we got a lift, we've gotten, a ton of shots up. You hear in the background some of the guys still putting in work and getting extra shots up. And we turned it into an academic day, with it being at the end of the 6 weeks and into the semester. We took it as an opportunity to get the kids in, we had some good peer tutorials going, had all of my coaches spread out, in different classrooms throughout the school, and really giving those kids some individual academic attention.
Well, always a good opportunity when you can take advantage of that. That kind of takes me, we always try to get off the court a little bit with the guys when we have them over here, and with Coach KP and Harston when we've had them. Kind of a historic day today. You got a presidential inauguration. Those don't happen very often. Surely be the first time or the only time that these guys will have had one in their high school careers.
Right.
Do you talk to the guys about that kind of thing, or when the election comes through? I mean, do y'all talk about that sort of thing? Not necessarily from hey, vote for this guy or whatever, but something historic like that. Does that come up?
Yeah, it didn't today because we were so locked in and focused on, the academic help that they needed. Again, we're right near the end of a 6 weeks, which, determines their academic eligibility, but we also talk to them a lot about, just core GPAs and test scores and the difference between on a transcript of a 79.4 and a 79.5, and knowing what your 3 6 weeks average was and what a final would do to it. We had put so much focus on that today. Unfortunately, we did miss a little bit on the opportunity to, talk about, the inauguration and everything there. But we do that kind of stuff all the time. We're not afraid as a family to talk about, different social issues that are out and everything else. We spent some time, quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King on our practice on that day. We just spend so much time together that it gives us the opportunity to experience things like that together as well.
Sure, and I know one of the things that you focus on in the program is not just about turning out quality basketball players, but turning out quality men as well, and of course, all the opportunities you can get to talk about stuff beyond the court. I know you guys like to take advantage of it when you can.
Absolutely.
Well, I think I'm going to cut this one short, Coach. It's been a long one for me. I had a chance to see the countryside today. So
yeah, I heard you've been on a nice little trip.
Yeah, I took a little jaunt up to see my daughter and then come right back. So I'm ready to go home and take a nap.
Well, welcome home, and you go do that, and we always appreciate you doing this. I think it's so good for the guys and CJ and Brian Thomas today to be able to put a headset on and do a little bit of public speaking, and I think it's a great opportunity for those guys.
Yeah, good times, and we always have fun with it. So I appreciate you coming and talking to us, and I guess we won't talk on Friday, but our next broadcast will be Tuesday, and so I hope you'll tune in there. We'll be at Boswell, so should be a good one.
All right. Appreciate everything.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. You've been listening to a Panther